is what you all been waiting for.
Alright guys, so now that we finally got the GT500 in hand, I want to try to get this thing ready to be on track as soon as possible. There is a few things we got to do to the car before we could take it out on track. We do have to get camber plates installed on it so that we can get the track alignment done. And I do have this oil separator we need to install. That's what we're going to be installing today. Got this big old monstrosity here. Also, I have this little carbon fiber hood strut thing that I bought a little while back. It's just a little cover for the hood strut. It's in carbon fiber, so it's pretty cool. Should be a super simple install there. So I don't have the camber plates in hand just yet, but hopefully they'll either have those at the dealer for me or we can get them as soon as possible. If not, I'll just order some camber plates for it because I want to get this thing on track as soon as possible. But let's go ahead and let me show you how to install this oil separator. All right, guys, so the first thing you need to do, which should be somewhat obvious, is pop the hood. There. Right there. It's nice to see a Mustang finally have a hood strut. All right, guys, so the first thing you need to do here is locate these two brown or orange zip ties on the wire harness here for the coil plugs, and then you're going to actually cut these off here. And then once you cut these zip ties here, you can go ahead and remove these standoffs here. They're kind of hard to pull off, but you can also just kind of twist them off slowly. And once they get to the top, they'll pull off. All right, so now that we got the zip ties removed and the little standoffs out of the way, they want you to remove coil wires 2 and 3. So that's 2, that's 3. We're gonna unplug these. And now basically what they want you to do is run these, see how they're running above the wiring harness and plugged in? They want you to run them below the wiring harness and then re-plug them in. So we'll do that real quick. And actually, while we're here, only because I think it's going to be a pain in the butt to do this after the oil separator is installed, and I can always get another set for the R, we're going to come over here and borrow something from the 350R. I think I'm going to borrow these carbon fiber coil covers. Hopefully they fit. I don't see why they wouldn't. Here and test one before we take them both off. So we're gonna come over here and remove that. And we just need to pop this one off. Pretty easy. Oh yeah. Here's one. They fit. Well, that looks good. Definitely goes with the carbon fiber theme of the car. So we're gonna install both of those before we continue with the rest of the install. All right, so we got the carbon fiber coil covers installed. That's looking good. Okay, now what you want to do to install this bracket is over here where you put the two coil wires behind the harness here, you just push this up just a little bit so you have access to these two studs here. And those two studs are going to come through these two holes in the bracket, so the bracket's going to go on just like this. And then this bottom hole here, there's a little stud right above your exhaust manifold, and that's pretty much in between cylinder 1 and cylinder 2. That stud's going to go right there on that bottom hole of the bracket. And then in the back here, there's a little cable tie that has a push clip in it, and that's going to go around the wiring harness in the back there. You'll see how that goes in a moment. So we're going to slip this on in and over the studs, and then you're going to use, in your hardware kit, there's, you'll see right here, 3 nuts. Those are the 3 nuts you're going to use to secure it. Just to show you guys real quick what the bracket looks like in place. Slipped over the 2 studs right there, and then kind of see on the bottom there. All right, guys, so now that we have that all bolted down, the kit's gonna come with a couple of these. They actually have a little zip tie through them. So we're gonna take these and we're gonna slip them over the two studs there, just kind of like the factory pieces. So yeah, we're gonna put those on there. And then if you look down in there, you see those two little holes. You can see better if you go that way. So you're gonna wanna pick the wire harness up a little bit, and then each one of those little holes is gonna take one of these clip cable ties. So you're gonna go ahead and insert both of those in there now. Just push it right on in, and then you're gonna wanna spin it in the orientation so that it's flush around the wire harness, because this is gonna be used to hold up the wire harness. All right, now this one's gonna be pretty much impossible to film while I do it, but just so you guys can see what's going on back there, there's a little tab right there that's got a little hole in it. And that, you're gonna take this clip right here and you're gonna put it in that tab, but first, you're gonna wrap this zip tie around the transmission harness right here. That's the one I'm wiggling there. So you're gonna wrap this around there, and then once you get it wrapped around there, you're gonna clip it down right there. And I'll show you what it looks like once that's done. All right, and that's what it'll look like once you get it zip tied around the transmission wire harness and then clipped into the little tab there. Now you can go ahead and remove the PCV hose here, and you're actually gonna have to remove the PCV valve out of the valve cover here, which now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure why the instructions didn't have you take this out before bolting down the bracket. Unless I see something else, guys, and later on I'll let you know, but I would say it's probably best to go ahead and take this out, maybe even first, especially before you bolt down this bracket, but we'll see if maybe there's a reason why they said that. All right, guys, so I was able to get the factory PCV valve out of there just by picking this up just enough, and I got a 22mm wrench in there. Like I said, I would recommend doing that before you go ahead and bolt this bracket down. It's just going to be easier that way. I don't know why the instructions said to do it that way. So now you can go ahead and grab the new fitting supplied with the kit and install this. All right, now you're going to come down here and you're going to look for that little plug right there on the valve cover, and you're going to remove that plug. We're going to put a little 90-degree fitting in here. All right, so now you're going to grab a 1/4-inch hex and you're going to remove that plug in the valve cover. All right, now we're also going to go ahead and remove this plug here on the valve cover, and that's just going to give us a little bit more room to actually tighten this down. So we're going to put this in the valve cover. All right, so you're going to spin this fitting around 4 times and then tighten up the jam nut here, and you basically want it parallel with the edge of the coil cover here. Probably give yourself just enough room so that you can get that hose on there. You're going to take the hose that has the 2 90s on it, and you're going to take the straight side. One side has a curve on it, one side piece of straight hose, and you're going to orientate it on the oil separator just like this. Okay, now that's prepared. Okay, so now we can go ahead and position the oil separator in place. Now this is going to be held in place basically by these 2 slots in the bottom of the oil separator are going to go right into these tabs on the bracket. So we're just going to line this up. And that's it. It snaps right into place. So now it's nice and secure. And obviously this plugs in here. Okay, now that we have our clamps on the drain hose, it helps if you slide the clamps down a little bit further than you would think. That way you could just slide the hose on and then grab your pliers and pull the clamps on over to the ends. Now we put the other side on. Don't forget to re-plug in your cam sensor. And now you have the final hose here. Put that in there, and that in there, and we all done. Alright guys, so now that we're all finished with the oil separator install, like I said earlier in the video, I got this little carbon fiber cover for the hood strut. I got this from Redline Tuning. It was like 20 bucks, which I thought it was a really good deal. It's real carbon fiber, so, and it should look good, especially now that we have the carbon fiber coil covers on there, so that should look real good together, and it shouldn't take more than, I wouldn't think, a couple minutes to install it. So let's just go ahead and skip along and see what it looks like when it's installed. Alright, so yeah guys, like I said, that was a super simple install. It took me about 2 minutes to do. Basically all you're going to do is remove your hood strut here. You just pull on these tabs here, then remove the hood strut from the top, then remove it from the bottom. This hood is super duper heavy, but remove the hood strut off the car, and then once you have the hood strut off the car, you're basically just gonna turn both ends off. It just basically screws on both ends. You're gonna slide the carbon fiber cover over it, and then you're gonna put these little rubber boots, one on each end. That's why you have to remove this one too, so you can put this rubber boot on. But other than that, you screw the ends back on and then put your hood strut back on, and it's all done. And our little carbon fiber theme is already starting to come together. And I assure you guys there's gonna be a lot more modding to do on this car. It's just right now, I do want to keep it stock performance wise, so we can get some baselines at the track and at the drag strip. And then once we have those baselines, we're gonna go all out with this thing, man. We're gonna let her rip. All right guys, I hope that was helpful for you. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel because we've got a lot planned with this car you're not gonna wanna miss. And as always, thanks for watching guys.